This week on Dear Bros, we have some girl-on-girl stuff, a Pride special. Stay tuned.
You're listening to Bro Down Podcast all fucking day. Oh, yeah.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Bro Down Podcast. I'm Andy Smith.
I'm Tim Fulton.
This is Dear Bros.
Dear Bro.
Dear Bros, we rip some of the device columns from Dear Abby and pretend that they're ours. And this week is Tim's topic. Tim, what is it, Dear Abby? Dear Bros.
So we actually have two little short ones, but we're going to start with Miss Congeniality.
Oh, it's a good movie.
It's a fantastic movie, not going to lie.
It's pretty good.
So the actual title of this one is called Mother Can't Stand Daughter's Girlfriend. So to preface this, the girl-on-girl thing is actually not a part of this question at all, at least I think.
Okay.
But it was a Pride special, so fuck it, why not?
All right, let's see what the mom's problem is.
I do what I want.
I'm going to guess a woman's at fault here, typically.
No, Andy, it's always the man's fault.
It's a win-win for me.
It's always the man's fault.
Well, that I know.
Check yourself.
All right.
Someone's going to look this up in 10 years.
Yeah.
Dear Abby, my college senior daughter, Lisa, insists on inviting her significant other, quote-unquote, to every holiday and to our home when she's on break. This is Lisa's first girl-girl romance, and she thinks she's in love.
This sounds a little...
There's like
There's
hints of it in the background, but I don't think it's the primary issue.
Yeah, this sounds like somebody dated wrote it.
Yes.
I'll just say that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to follow that up with something I can't say on air.
Okay.
This girlfriend has zero personality and adds nothing to our family dynamic. None of us can stand her. How can I nicely explain to my daughter that although she feels one way, we feel another? She honestly thinks she's going to marry this girl and is very pushy when it comes to inviting her wherever we go. Also, this girlfriend is only going into her junior year. She has 2 more years left of school. Once Lisa graduates this year, she'll be 5 hours from the girlfriend. I feel like this is an issue that every mom stumbles upon once at some point.
Just from that, this may work itself out.
Yeah, that's a good point. We'll talk about that in a second. She makes my daughter very weird and not in a good way. I'm praying... Oh, I didn't read that part. I'm praying this relationship will end after she graduates. It's horrible. If this girl isn't with her, Lisa calls her 10 times a day. Help! Mom knows better in New Jersey.
All right, that last line, Mom knows better right there, that just sealed the deal that this lady might be part of the problem. And just the fact that she's from Jersey...
Jersey.
That ain't helping.
I should have done it all with the Jersey accent.
Yeah, it ain't helping.
Technically?
It ain't helping. You did technically.
Technically? She makes my daughter very weird, fist pump.
Yeah. This sounds like this lady just doesn't like her personally. She could be right speaking for the rest of her family.
To be fair, yeah.
She could be.
Yeah.
But
and she could also be right that the girl has no personality.
100%. She could be. I would say, like, if you're asked, say it, I guess. If you're asked what your thoughts on it are. But if she's doing stuff like ignoring everyone and constantly being on her phone or leaving family gatherings and stuff like that, then I would, you can mention it then.
That's different, because that's like, at what point is awkward mixed with rude? You know what I mean?
Well, that's what it is.
Yeah.
It becomes that.
Yeah, it does. Some people... I don't know, though. Some people are just, like, just not there, but they try. You know what I mean? Like, I definitely know people who are socially awkward and, like, I kind of go out of my way not to talk to them just because, like, it's painful.
Yeah.
Painful, but they try. So I wouldn't look at them and be like, oh, I don't like you.
Yeah. There's also there is that weird thing where, like, people can be perfectly nice and perfectly fine and everything like that, but they're just not your type of person.
Yeah.
So there's just that point in the conversation where it's like, yeah. So,
and they're always the person to be like, so what are you doing this weekend?
Yeah, like, so what's up, man? Yeah.
So what's up, man?
So what's up, man? Yeah, I don't know. If, I mean, technically, like, it's your daughter's say. It's not like you can just, like, say who she dates and who she doesn't date. She seems like she thinks that her daughter's going through like a phase or something based on that first paragraph.
Dated. You put it well.
Yeah.
It's
So I'm not so sure how much she's accepted this. So she might there might be multiple layers to this cake. But as far as this, I mean, if you're feeling that strongly about it and you feel like you might just explode one day, just sit down and have a talk with her about it. Don't attack her though.
yeah, definitely don't attack her. I don't know if I agree with that though, because if you want your daughter to go one way and you tell her to, people have this innate ability to be like, I'm gonna do the exact opposite of what you think.
But that's the difference of the attacking thing. Like you basically say like, listen, I'm not telling you what to do. Like just here's my concerns, and whether it's on a level of like, it really doesn't have to do anything with me not liking her. It's the fact that you are overly spending so much energy and time on this that you're neglecting other like basic human needs that are gonna like rear their head in 6 months, a year, when you realize like, oh, like I don't know how to be a person anymore. I only know how to be with this person.
I will say, siding with the mom on one small issue, because I think the mom's in a losing battle here. You can't. I mean, I see what you're saying. Don't get me wrong. If you want to have the conversation, have the conversation. But I don't think mom has a leg in the conversation, realistically. But I will say, same-sex relationships. Your first same-sex relationship is the same as like your first relationship in high school, where you're like, I love them and I'm gonna love them forever.
Okay.
And we're gonna be together forever. It's like it's almost like a reset of like that mentality.
Like you fall back into like the innocence of like, we're gonna get married. It's gonna be doves and horses, and you're not gonna know any of it because I'm running away. One of those type things.
No, it's exactly like that.
Yeah, that can be dangerous though.
It can. Oh, don't tell me about it.
People
dude.
wind up under bridges like that.
Yeah.
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 So I don't know what to say here. I'm too caveman to deal with this topic.
No, ignore the. With the exception of that, I truly don't believe that the same sex. With the exception of that, and the mother using kind of like she's with a woman kind of talk. I don't think the same sex thing really plays a factor into this.
No, I agree.
So go at this if a girl was dating a really, really boring dude. Like a guy who just doesn't belong with the family. The mother thinks. What would your advice to her be?
See, this is the trick that people, I think, play in their heads when they're in a relationship, like you said, like the puppy, like, we're going to get blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, come here, little dude. Let me tell you about life. When people tell you not to do it, it's not only like a rebellious thing. What that does is from what I can tell from my experiences with whatever, is it gives that person an excuse to blame the bad things in the relationship on. So if the relationship isn't going good, it's not because, Johnny's a drug addict or Johnny is doesn't have a job or Johnny's abusive to me. It's because my parents don't like him and they bring this stress and drama, and that's why Johnny does this, because he loves me so much that he's willing to do anything. It's like it gives you this external loophole to blame the problems in the relationship on.
Yeah.
As opposed to just being like, oh fuck, like nobody's really against this, so the only thing I can blame it on is this.
We have similar, but ever so slightly. I think like we both like.
I was totally made up on the spot,
We
but
both
it
like,
makes sense in my head.
We both meet at a point. So like if a mother's like, I don't think this is good, all of a sudden the relationship has a common enemy, and
yes,
you're like, you two have something to fight against. And couples that have something to fight against for whatever reason are stronger because like it becomes us versus them. And it creates that us bond.
In human history, more alliances have been formed by common enemies than by common beliefs.
So that's my advice. Lady, if you don't want this alliance to be permanent, then don't become the enemy.
Yeah, you got to delicate eggshells.
Eggshells. I agree with that.
Do some woman stuff.
Yeah. Do some man stuff.
Giggity.
All right. Abby says, be patient. Because of the circumstances you mentioned in your letter, there's a good chance your daughter's fixation on her first love will lessen. I assume that when she returns from college, she will be socializing with other people. Cross your fingers and gently encourage it because it may give her a different perspective. Absence does not always make the heart grow fonder. Abby has the same. She basically says, wait it out. Don't do anything.
Yeah. It's so weird because, like, especially at that age, so the personality differences in people in high school, college year, like, it's so vastly different for how they're going to react to things. Whereas, like, adults, even if they're very different personalities, there's this general sense of, like, most people have a job, most people have responsibility, so there's a lot of common ground. In high school and college, it's like everyone is just, like, shooting from the hip in a way, and, like, you don't know what's going to make what happen.
You know what was weird about when we were growing up? Not growing up, that's a bad way to put it, but when we were young adults,
Okay.
we went through... We're in our 30s, early 30s. So we went through the economic crisis when we were in college. So when we immediately... So like you were saying, in high school, you have classes. In college, you have classes. Everyone kind of has the same mentality. And when you're a young adult, you get a job and you go to work, and then everyone has the same mentality. But that didn't exist for us. Some people went to work. Some people had a lot of trouble finding work.
Yeah.
Some people worked weird-ass jobs. And, like, I feel like some people took extra classes. I feel like when we were young adults, instead of everyone being like, oh, we're all on, like, generally the same page and we're all kind of progressing through life together, everyone was just fucking everywhere, and everyone was just kind of like...
Well, it's when supplies are short, people get desperate, and that's when the friendships get severed. So there wasn't this friendly, like, everyone can get work and all that. Like, I know people that specifically stayed in school to stay on. It was cheaper for them to get loans and pay them later and stay on their parents' insurance than it was for them to graduate, get a job, and pay for Cobra. Like, it was just cheaper to do that. So it was a weird time.
It was a weird time.
It was a very strange time when we were also the generation that was sold the shitty bill of goods was all you needed was a college degree.
Bro.
And, like, the world would be laid at your feet, and you'd be like, I will take that job. And 6 weeks vacation starting. It was like, that's when we were kids, it was just get a college degree and you'll get a job. That's all you need. Just show them that piece of paper and slap your nuts on the table.
Yo, my current job is a job I thought I would have 10 years ago.
Your what?
My current job is a job I thought I would have 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Like the status level.
Yeah. When we were literally going into college the year that the crash started.
Yeah.
And it was like people who were experienced as shit were like losing their jobs and taking the jobs that we would have gotten because they had all the experience and were willing to work for peanuts. So when we got out there, like, instead of being like, oh, we gave this all, they're like, what do you got for me? Like, oh, you don't have any experience and you have a college degree? Get in line. Get in line.
I worked at the last one, and then we're going to go to this little brief one. It's going to take us 2 seconds.
Okay.
I worked at a tech center in college, and I remember my boss at the time, there was this high position. It was like head tech guy of the college, and but it was designed for a student.
Okay.
And it wasn't always taken. It was like this, like, it would almost be like team captain. If there wasn't always a team captain, but every now and then a special person would come along and they'd be like, you are the captain.
It wasn't like a required position.
Yes.
It was like the machine still works without it. But
exactly. But if you got it, basically college is paid for. Like, they would pay your tuition. They would give you room and board. They would give you a whole bunch of crap, and you would be paid on top of it. So she's like, go for it. You know what you're doing. You've been here for a hot stint. Go for it. So I went for it, and the guy just looked at me, and he's like, we don't have that in our budget. No. Like, we're not even going to contemplate that question right now. And I just remember thinking, but they always used to.
Yeah. They don't give a fuck about that anymore.
No. That was the turning of the tide. Like she was like, this always is a thing, and you're qualified, and you're going to go for it. And I went for it, and they're just like, no, money bad.
To this day, that bullshit, and it's not bullshit, but it is bullshit in the context that they say it. They wrote, like, companies and businesses wrote that you're lucky just to have a job.
I know. That
was rode well into, like, way out of that depression that we came out of in the early 2000s.
They're still using it.
They still do. Like, oh, you're lucky to have a job. It's like, says the guy, like, driving this who like, you're just saying that because you're making people afraid to lose their job because they remember what it was like not to have one.
Yeah.
Which is true, but they're using it in a shitty way.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's see what Abs has to say.
We already did. We're going to the next one. We talked for a while.
No, that's what I mean. The next abs.
Oh. All right. This one is called Girlfriend. This is a short one. Girlfriend of 20 years takes a stand.
Oh, okay.
I have been with my man for more than 20 years, and we still haven't tied the knot. When I told him that because I'm not his wife, I will not be doing his wifely duties anymore, he got really upset. Do you think I should give him an ultimatum?
What does that mean?
She cooks. She cleans. I'm assuming traditional female role here. Or maybe it means...
There's a lot left. This question annoys me.
Go ahead.
This question annoys me for a bunch of reasons, but it's like I just want to know what those things are and why you are doing them. Are you doing them just because you want to get the ring and then you'll stop doing them because you got the prize, or you're punishing somebody that you love because of whatever, so you're like drawing this like, well, now you have to do this or I'm not going to do this, and it's like this pissing contest. Like why is like, I don't think that should have, like, if you're not happy with that, you shouldn't be threatening with shit just to get what you want, because you're now bringing in external pressure that has nothing to do with what that is.
Yeah.
Like, that's like those memes where it's like, oh, you made a wife request, but you're still at girlfriend status or whatever. It's like, okay, so if you're not doing it now, what makes you think that you're going to do it when you get a ring on your like, that doesn't make any sense to me.
The commitment is there. There's a big ceremony involved. I believe in all the hubbub, but at the end of the day, especially this day and age, after you get married, nothing changes.
No, but that's my question. Like, you're just doing that to get married. Like, if you've been together for 20 years, like, if it's that important to you, just say, like, hey, I want to get married. And then if he says, like, well, I don't, then leave.
Yeah.
Don't be like, don't force somebody to do something they don't want to do by like threatening aspects of the relationship and then giving them back afterwards, because now it's like, okay, so all we have to do when we want something is to just take away
Dangerous precedent.
shit that we do for each other. That doesn't make any sense.
No.
It makes sense if you're a psychopath. Psychopaths do that.
You took a hell of a lot out of me.
No, seriously. Seriously. Like, if I was like, oh, hey, Tim, I want to fucking, watch UFC this weekend. And you're like, oh, I can't, I'm busy. I'm like, well, if I don't, we're not friends anymore. You'd be like, all right, fuck you then, dude.
Yeah, we might not be friends then.
It's not
that might have like,
it's a no-brainer.
I'd be a little confused. Be like, he hasn't pulled this before.
Yeah, but like that kind of a presentation is a no-brainer.
No, yeah.
If I was like, oh, come on, man, like I really want to watch it with you because there's this guy that was fighting who like I know that you like, you'd be like, all right, like we talk about it, whatever. But like, not like it's this or that. Like choose. It's like, no, how about you fuck, like just on that precedent alone, fuck off.
Yeah.
Right?
I think we agree. Conversation is important. I think that's the moral of the story. Conversation is important. Don't throw an ultimatum if you haven't sat down and you said, do you want to get married?
Yeah, but like I don't what are the wifely duties?
I generally can't decide if she means
like sex shit or like typical like old school generality like housewife type stuff.
That's what I'm confused on. I don't know what she means.
Because if that's the case, then he'd be like, oh, like, if you're not going to do the dishes, I'm not taking out the garbage. I guess we're going to live like animals in filth. Like, why not just do that every time you want something, like a child? Like, stomp your feet in Walmart because you didn't get your toy.
Even if it is the sex thing, then. Like, every time you don't get what you want, be like, all right, well, all I have to do is not have sex with him, and then he'll cave eventually.
But that's what this is. This is, you're with a dude who you care about a lot, but you want one thing. And you're not getting it. It's totally fine. And like coming from somebody that has no emotional ties in this, like if it means that much to you to where you're like, listen, I'm willing to leave if I don't get married, and he's just like excluding outside threats, and he's just like, well, then I don't want to get married, and that's where we differ. And if you need to do what you got to do, like, sorry, no hard feeling. Like, not everything has to be like this horrific thing. But when you have like a little thing like this happens if you don't, it's like now it's not even. You're not talking on an even playing field. I just don't like that. I don't like that kind of a tactic is accepted.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
And that has been Andy's rant.
Yeah. So what do you think?
No, I agree with you. The conversation is more important than the ultimatum. She hasn't said anything about, I sat down with him, I asked him, blah, 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 and he's avoided the conversation. That's different. You know what? If she was like, I've put in so much, I want him to say, are you going to propose? I told him how important it is to me. I told him this, that, the other thing. I want him to give me an answer. He evades the question. He gets upset. So now I'm not going to do wifely duties, and I'm going to give him an ultimatum. That would be a little different.
Yeah, a little different.
That would be a little different. But just based off this paragraph, I agree with you.
But here's the thing: what that shows me is if you talk to him and he says, "No, I don't want to get married," and she's like, "All right, well then I'm not doing wifely duties anymore," and
that's different.
And then he says like,
"That's black. That's different to me."
Yeah, but what I'm saying though is that then what you're saying is like he's saying that he doesn't want to get married.
Yeah,
and it'd be the same if it was a vice versa, guy and a girl.
Yeah.
So. He's saying he doesn't want to get married, but the deciding factor was like you decided you're not doing X, Y, and Z anymore. That's what made him say yes, not out of his just general like, yeah, I want to do it.
So even if he did propose, wouldn't it be tainted?
100%. That's the point.
Yeah.
That's the point.
All right, we're running long.
Yeah.
Abby says, the question, by the way, was, do you think I should give him an ultimatum? Abby says, I think you already have.
With an exclamation point, like she thinks she did the right thing.
You don't know that.
I don't. But what we do here on the Bro Down podcast is speculate. We do that very well. And
Abby,
we make things up.
Abby is a lizard person.
She is. She eats the blood of children.
All right, buddy.
Yep.
Any last thoughts before we get out this?
I'm hot and
it's so hot in here.
I'm literally saturating the wood with sweat right now. Yeah. So we're gonna get out of here.
All right, guys, let us know what you think about this last topic in the comments down below. What do you think the woman should do? Is the ultimatum already made? Is she crazy? Is the guy crazy? Let us know what you think about girl-on-girl action.
Well, now that you say that.
Ew, gross. Disgusting.
Double gross for you.
I know. There's nothing in on it. That's what my personal hell is. Go to brodownpro.com to get all your cool Bro Down gear. Don't forget to visit Dear Abby yourself. You could find her by Googling Dear Abby. We'll catch you guys next time.
If you ever worked for a government agency and a foreign agency kidnapped you, that article that they would read about how they cracked you in interrogation, they're like, we tried everything. Acid drips on bare skin, electricity, pulling fingernails, salt on gunshot wounds, when all we had to do was some girl-on-girl action. Took 2.5 minutes.
My mom just said I need to start watching your podcast.
You're listening to Bro Down Podcast all